released a report talking about how Jalen Hood Schifino is potentially a replacement for Austin Reaves, should Austin Reaves get a huge restricted free agent contract, right? Like, say, the Houston Rockets, the San Antonio Spurs. These are two teams that have been linked to potentially offering Austin Reaves a heavy contract. Well, got this report from Mark Stein that says the purple and gold are a lock to match any offer on Reaves. That remains the case regardless of whether another team gives him a max offer sheet in restricted free agency of approximately $100 million over 4 years. So when it comes to Austin Reaves, that is what he can potentially get on the market. 4 years, $100 million. Now, because of his contract and because of certain stipulations of his contract being an unrestricted free agent, Gilbert Arenas rule, he can only make X amount of money, and the first 2 years are roughly $12 million a year, and then he gets these big balloon payments towards the back end, the back half of the contract, which is called a poison pill contract. Wanted to explain that for those that don't know, because I did have some comments when we were talking about the news from Lakers Nation in my last video. So hopefully that gives you a little better understanding. It's a brief understanding, but kind of the gist of it, right? Well, Austin Reaves, in that video when I talked about it, I said with the new CBA, contracts like Austin Reaves, Rui Hachimura, the quality sort of blue chip rotation guys, or the guys that the Lakers perceive as blue chip rotation guys, for all teams, it becomes a real problem now. The middle class of free agents, or players in general, are pretty much gone. Those days are gone. There will be certain outliers and things like that. A guy that they're really high on that they think has star potential and contracts due, or, they need to match salaries, or, a team just needs to hit a certain floor or to make a trade or whatever. There's always going to be small little outliers here and there. But in general, the general contract, most players are either going to be 30 plus million a year max guys, or they're going to be 10 to 15 million. Those like 18 to 22 million dollar contracts, I think, are really going to be a thing of the past. And we're really starting to see the impact of the CBA already this offseason. I mean, teams are just giving players away to get out of under contracts. Even very good star level, all-star level players, teams are just here. Just take them if you're willing to take them, because everything just gets so complicated. And I don't believe that they're going to let Austin Reaves go. And to Laker Nation's defense on the whole potential replacement, it's because if something happens with Austin Reaves, right? If for whatever reason, it's better to have a plan in place, a plan B in place, than something happens and you're like, oh no, right? And it's like, now what do we do, right? So I don't mind the information of like, hey, the Lakers took Schifino in case of an Austin Reaves replacement. Because also, if Austin Reaves doesn't live up to that contract, then you're going to need to get out of it, right? So, again, Lakers are not just going to lose Austin Reaves for the sake of losing Austin Reaves. I even talked about it in the previous video. Very, very likely, worst case scenario, they would try to sign and trade him, or they would sign him to that contract and then look to move him at like the trade deadline or something like that. Most likely what will happen is the Lakers will give him and match him that money. Again, the first 2 years, he'll get about 12 to 13 million. And in those years, they're going to see within this next year how good is Austin Reaves, right? Because if Austin Reaves is the same player he is last year, this year, and there isn't like slight improvements or adjustments, then I wouldn't be shocked if they start looking to move him before that balloon payment. Because again, once he gets to that back end of the contract, now he's making like 25 to 30 million a year. And right now he is not a 25 to 30 million a year contract, right? So if he continues to improve, I'm not saying that he has to be, the second coming of Michael Jordan or anything like that, but if he continues to show improvement and he continues to show like, oh, he added this layer to his game, or he's gotten more consistent, or this, that, and the other, well, then I do believe the Lakers will keep him long haul. But if he comes in and he regresses, that could be a real problem for the Lakers. And that's a concern, period. Because Austin Reaves is a great player, but he was this outlier this year, right? He was a guy that nobody really saw coming or game planned for or anything like that. And Austin Reaves had his breakout in the later part of the season and then continued that into the playoffs. He did have a really bad stretch in the playoffs, but for the most part, he was great, right? No complaints about Austin Reaves whatsoever. Here's the thing now. This year, teams are going to game plan, and he is going to be on scouting reports, and he is going to be a guy that teams are going to try to slow down. The NBA is also trying to make adjustments and changes to the rules to prevent a big part of his game, which is drawing and creating contact and then getting to the free throw line. They want to try to eliminate so many free throws. So if he doesn't get that favorable whistle that he was getting before, which he is very crafty, he's great at drawing contact, but do refs, now that they are aware of Austin Reaves trying to initiate contact, as crafty as he is, do they start going, okay, we're going to put an end to this, right? It happened to James Harden. James Harden was just, he was getting 30 points a game on free throws. And now he still gets free throws, but not compared to what he was a couple years ago, because the NBA wanted to put an end to that. So does Austin Reaves, is he able to be a consistent guy? If this year going in, if he can consistently be 15 to 20 point per game guy, give you 40% from three or 38% from three, 48%, 50% from the field, and be a solid contributor, be the guy that we saw him in the back half, if he can continue to be that, then sure, by all means, the Lakers, I fully believe, will keep him long term. If it doesn't, and he starts having those regressions, and he is like a 10 to 12 point a game guy, the Lakers might have to start looking at, like, do we get off of him now before teams go, I don't want to trade for Austin Reaves right when he's about to make $30 million, right? It begs the question. I don't think they're going to trade Reaves unless, one, something comes, like Damian Lillard becomes available and Portland's like, we'll trade you Damian Lillard, but we want Austin Reaves. Austin Reaves isn't going to be the deciding factor for the Lakers to get Damian Lillard. They will trade Austin Reaves. Again, hypothetical, not saying that that'll happen, but something like that, I think Reaves is gone. Outside of that, I think it'll depend on his level of play over the course of this entire season. And how do other guys play? Max Christie is supposedly 6'6", 6'7" now, and he is a much better defender. He might be the best defender on the Lakers, right? At least on-ball defender. So if he can be that level of defender, he's bigger and taller now, and if he can continue his display of shooting, which he shot 41%, it was a small sample size, but still, if he can do that on a larger sample size, well, now Austin Reaves becomes expendable. Maxwell Lewis, 6'7", hyper athlete, a guy that could be a legit two-way player in this league and has really good intangibles. If that guy ends up living up to who he's supposed to be, or what many believe he's going to be, then that makes Austin Reaves, again, expendable. You start looking, Schifino, depending on him, if he can develop a jump shot, he's a better defender, has some different intangibles, he's a little bigger. Again, he becomes replaceable. The whole point of, or at least what I think Lakers Nations was trying to get across, and I could be completely wrong on this, it's just my interpretation, is that, like, if at any point the Lakers have to get off of Austin Reaves, they have replacements in line, which I relayed in the previous video, that I believe the Lakers, if they lost Austin Reaves, wouldn't be the hugest blow. Now, obviously, it would be in your best interest to see Max Christie step into that role and go, okay, he should be, like, this guy is good, right? Or Schifino, or Lewis, or whomever. D'Angelo Russell is 6'5", so he is probably better suited for the two, right? So there's options there. And so if Austin Reaves at any point, it's like, all right, we are probably in our best interest to move off of him. You hopefully have that production that you're not missing, or maybe even better production, right? I saw so many people that brought up like, oh, there's no way Schifino will be Austin Reaves. He's never going to replace Austin Reaves. Like, really? Never? Really? Like, we've never even seen this guy play an NBA game, right? Austin Reaves wasn't even Austin Reaves, the guy that we know, until the back half of this year. So it took a year and a half for him to get there, right? And look, I'm not saying Schifino will. He may not. Schifino might, he could go either way. He could be a bust. He could be a star. He could be, who knows? He could be a top 5 player for all we know. I don't know. He hasn't played a game in the league yet. So to say and give definitives, I just think is silly, right? We don't know. Schifino may end up being a better all-around player than Austin Reaves, right? Austin Reaves is really good, but if Schifino develops a legitimate three-point shot, he shot 40% in pull-ups. His spot-ups were the problem, right? So if he develops a good spot-up three and he can be 38% from three, then he will be a better player than Austin Reaves because he's bigger, he's stronger at finishing towards the rim, right? He has different intangibles that Austin Reaves just doesn't have. The one thing that Schifino, based on what we've seen in college, again, we'll see how it translates to the NBA, the one thing we haven't seen is that three-point shot. If he develops that three-point shot, he very well could end up being a better player than Austin Reaves. I don't know. Like, I had a lot of people that would ask that question, like, oh, so do you really think? I don't think anything. I don't know. We haven't seen him play. Lewis and Schifino, they could be the two best players in the league in 5 years for all we know. They could be out of the league in 5 years for all we know. Who knows? Again, I don't know. We haven't seen him play an NBA game. Nobody thought Austin Reaves was going to be this guy at the time he was. And who knows if he will continue, right? We've seen lots of guys have great stretches, great moments, great years, and then completely fall off afterwards, especially after they get the bag. Think of guys like Chandler Parsons. Chandler Parsons is probably a great comparison. That dude got an insane bag and he was out the league before the contract was up. So again, who knows? I don't know. I can't see the future, but the new CBA did change a lot. So we'll see. But like I said, I don't think they're going to let Austin Reaves go. I don't. It would be foolish to just let him go. But if somebody offers him 4 years, $100 million, it's a tough pill to swallow. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? How do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know.